Hey guys, thanks for stopping in. So today what I want to do is I want to share a story with you that aired on my local news just recently, back in actually just a couple days ago, August 1st. I don't know if it actually went nationwide, but nonetheless, I think it's a story that needs some attention, and I want to bring some attention to it. And I'm going to give you my 2 cents worth about exactly what I think about this video and this news story. And I think a lot of it is kind of reflecting upon what I'm seeing in walking around these days with people aimlessly walking around with masks with nobody around them. I think there's a lot of fear mongering going on, a lot of mask shaming. Check this video out. Let's roll it.
Residents. That's how South Lake Tahoe neighbors are characterizing the behavior of this crowd, captured by Nicholas Parr on Sunday.
From my vantage point, it only seemed about maybe 40 or 50 people, still a lot. But as we got closer and after the video, I saw 3 full buses, and I would estimate about 180 people.
Separately and standing much closer, resident Alana Mosley recorded this sea of kids, no social distancing in sight.
There was too many of them not wearing masks, taking the proper precautions to safely do whatever they were doing.
But Parr says he spoke with group members and learned this was a church event.
As I know there's no large churches around, I asked them where they were from. The girls talked for a second and responded they were from Redwood City.
So we reached out. Redwood City says it's conducting additional targeted outreach to help slow the spread of COVID, including notifying places of worship. Saying in part, we continued to urge the community to remain vigilant against the deadly virus by following all social distancing and health safety precautions. ABC7 is working to independently confirm where the group came from and why they were in South Lake.
We don't really care what kind of an event it was irresponsible.
South Lake Tahoe Communications Director Chris Fiore says the city was only made aware of the crowds once video was posted to social media. He says during a global pandemic, everyone plays a part, including acting responsibly and also reporting violations.
And for the most part, it's worked here, but not everybody's following the rules, and we saw that.
He says the city recently launched a volunteer effort to hand out masks and educate locals and visitors.
All right, so this is my take on it. So I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. What I'm seeing is this culture now on my news about people submitting videos of groups of people not wearing masks. Now, I have to be open-minded about this because on one front, we have to think about health and safety of others, all right? But in this particular case, it's very difficult for me to kind of take one side or the other. And where I'm going with this is the kind of stuff that actually kind of reflects on what people are seeing today on their news and they're reacting in public. Now, first, in regard to the story, I'll have to admit, it was a pretty large crowd, and everybody was kind of, not wearing a mask, right? A lot of them, from what I can gather, because their faces weren't exposed, but it seemed that many of them were youth. I believe they said something about it being some sort of church group, I believe. Now, when you look at the video, first off, they're in the middle of the woods or in some sort of camping place or maybe a large park. They're in a heavily wooded area. Probably in an area where they're all familiar with each other. They're not just going to interact with the public. They're all amongst themselves. Now, in one regard, yeah, I do see it as, these people can actually, when they're all done with their little church meeting or whatever, they can go to their jobs or whatnot, and they could probably spread a virus, or maybe from their job they can spread it to the church group, and then that can spread throughout their families. I get it. I know what you're talking about. I know where you're going to go with that. But here's the thing about that is that, in my opinion, is people would not be doing these type of things if they were allowed church services. When you got government like in California, because this happened up in, I believe it was Tahoe, right? And so, that's California. And the way the government is run in California is pretty ridiculous because, on one front, you can't have church gatherings or you can't sing in church or some ridiculousness like that. You can't even have church outside, in a parking lot for whatever reason. I don't know if that still holds true, but that's the last I heard on that matter. But if you keep, but on the same front, you can sit there and have Walmarts open, liquor stores are open. Now people are going to restaurants now and eating in patio areas. You know what I'm saying? So, when church groups are shut down, which is basically, it's unconstitutional, by the way. You're screwing around with the freedom of religion. You know what I mean? And that's something you really don't want to challenge. But if people are being forced not to go and practice their faith, whatever that faith may be, they're going to end up going to places like in Tahoe. Now, right or wrong, that's what's going to happen eventually. People are not going to sit there and have congregation with a Zoom. You know what I mean? You can have liquor stores open, but you can't have an AA meeting going on. You got to do that through Zoom. But now where I'm going with this is the fact that knowing all that, there is a culture of people that are filming people and shaming people. And as you've seen, it's being shared and shamed on our local news stations. And I really got a problem with that because, what you're doing is now people are becoming, it's like they're putting fear out there to, people are going to start thinking like, oh, I don't want to be shamed. I don't want to be videotaped. I don't want none of that going on. I better wear my mask. And I'm seeing a lot of people just walking aimlessly, nowhere near anybody, with, face coverings or a mask on, You see them, driving around in their cars, it's just, by themselves. It's just nuts, And I think I think there's this culture that's going on in our news where it's good to shame people. I've been hit by several Karens. One was a guy. He was running a gas station. I'm not going to get into it, but let's just say, for example, there were people that would say things like, wear your mask and all, just that kind of stuff. I mean, a couple of them were pretty wild. That's for another story. But I'm pretty sure you've seen them. They're driving around all by themselves. People by themselves wearing a mask. You've got them on their kids' faces. They're playing around. They're biking around. They're jogging around. They're doing all these things that really is not really helpful. In fact, it hinders your health. Okay, but yeah, that news story was just absolutely ridiculous. I heard what the local gal said. I mean, yeah, she probably got a concern because, those people can be at their church meeting and then go to a store and then spread it in their store. She has a small business or something. I get that. I just don't know why the city of Redwood City would get involved. I believe they were getting involved. I don't understand that. That's pretty stupid. But, regardless of all that, there is a culture of shaming that has to be, people being self-righteous and calling you out for not wearing a mask. I mean, why? Why would you? Why would you even try to call me out? I'm nowhere near you. This happened to me 3 times. People would actually criticize or critique, or they all of a sudden became doctors or what do you call it? The virus doctors, epidemiologists, right? Now all of a sudden they got it all figured out, and you better wear your mask or you're going to kill the world. It's lunacy. It's lunacy. And so, yeah, we got to stop all the shaming. I mean, come on. And our news stations are putting this crap out there. I mean, what is that? All these people want to do is just, I mean, if you would have gave them their church, I don't think they'd be in the middle of the woods. They were from Redwood City, and Redwood City's, I don't know what I guess they're going to throw around their weight. I don't know how they should even be involved. It wasn't even happening in their city in the first place. It was way up in Tahoe, so there you go. I don't know what was going on there. Granted, they could have been a little bit more cautious and stuff. I get that, and that could, who knows, right? But again, they're youth. We haven't seen any type of, case where they're spreading it around or, they're dying or anything like that. So I don't know. I think it's just kind of way blown out of proportion. I just really have a bad issue with news stations getting in on the shaming business. And so that's what I got on that. So go ahead, tell me what you think. Put a comment in the description below. Give it a like, a thumbs up, a share, whatever the case may be. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.